Hey, yo, 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 what up, everybody? What up? What up? Back at it again with another legendary live stream. And once again with King Ref, no stranger to this channel, but we gonna touch upon something that I think we both have addressed in our own way, and we both have very unique perspectives that I think should be discussed more. Just I guess amongst me and King Ref. Basically, our conversation when it went as such. Nobody else talking about it. What do you think, King Ref?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. We've been, addressing the male nature. I mean, you've been doing it longer than me. You feel me? Like I just recently started discussing about male nature, so I definitely could give you the credit as far as discussing that. Now, have I always had critiques on men? Yes, but you were the only content creator I've seen that actually had drops about male nature, and the topic was about male nature. You feel me? Like you didn't stray from that. So, I'm happy to be here. For those who are fans of my channel, subscribe to Rayology XM. Salute to the brother. I appreciate you for having me on here again. This honestly has been due for a couple weeks, but certain things in my personal life had to be hashed out before we could have the time available for this. But yeah, defining male nature. When it comes to like male nature, like a lot of people discuss male nature in relation, to women. They discuss things pertaining to men in relation to women. Your alpha or your beta in relation to women. But it's deeper than that. Like when it comes to a lot of males, like we all want to have our own boundaries. And what do I mean by that? Like for example, when it comes to a lot of women, they're about the lack of boundaries. That's why you can have female friends hold hands and no one will think anything of it. But two men holding hands, it's like, okay, like what's up with you? Like you feel me? So the first aspect of male nature is that um is just it pertains to boundaries. Male nature is highly, highly about boundaries. Why you think even in the animal kingdom, the males often they they piss on a tree to mark their territory. That's how men are. Like I don't care how how much you rock with a dude. No, most guys are not gonna sleep in the same bed as another guy. You feel me? Guys are just not built like that. We're built to have boundaries for a reason, because what's in our domain we are gonna protect. So a woman and a child could trespass that boundary, but not necessarily another man. So that's one aspect of male nature that I think men in general do not discuss overall. And Brown Dude Life 89 was saying, for those watching this live and on the replay, if you're migrating from the toxic space that is 98% of manosphere, then this space is for you. I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that. You know,
Yes,
um,
sir. Give a clap of an applause for that one. Yes, sir.
and my thing about the manosphere is that they do touch on topics. It's just not deep enough or not nuanced enough. For someone who has like unique experiences like myself, a lot of their talking points is incomplete, for lack of a better term. It's not that they're right or that they're completely wrong. It's just more so their talking points are just incomplete. Whereas, like, if I make a talking point, there's a lot of variations and layers to how I communicate that talking point and where that talking point stems from. But yeah,
Facts, man.
Ray,
Yeah, they
the
definitely
brother Ray invited me. Ray got to cook, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. You already know, man. I was gonna say like yeah, they or as you could say like they just have limited perspectives. You know, I know we've talked about this before. Like a lot of guys who haven't had a lot of different experiences, they lack range. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
exactly.
They lack the range for those experiences. Kind of similar to an electric car in some ways, but the opposite effect. Uh, you know, with the electric car, if it doesn't have enough range, you're not going to be able to experience it. But with a certain individual, you could tell that they lack range due to their lack of experience. And you just hear most of the content out there, even as we're touching upon it right now. I would say a lot of these guys haven't really had a true experience
No,
about what real male nature is.
and I'll break it down to you like this as well. Like, I think it's not that they don't have experiences. It's just they don't have unique experiences to broaden their perspectives. That's my whole thing. Like, I think a lot
Yeah,
of them have
yeah,
conventional experiences. That's the word I was looking for. Like the stuff that me and you talk about behind the scenes and we reason on is the stuff that they're not gonna reason on with other red pill people. You feel me? Because they're not seasoned enough. Or nah, I won't use that. They're seasoned, but they're conventionally seasoned. So it's not like
yeah.
the
Just
stuff
salt
that
and
they're
pepper.
saying
That's
is
it.
that groundbreaking. You know, it's not groundbreaking. That's the word I'm trying to look for. Like a lot of things that a lot of guys talk about is not groundbreaking. Like if I go through if I go through at least probably 20 of my live streams, if I was to guess, probably 10, probably at least between 8 and 10 to be fair, is probably groundbreaking as far as like the perspective that I'm coming with. Um and also the people I had on my live streams that I was in communication with discussing the stuff that we was discussing. So I just think that when it comes to a lot of men in general, they have conventional experiences. Like for example, like certain prostitutes, not certain, but a lot of like prostitutes, the reason why they're able to separate a trick from, a man that's, really about something is because they have a unique experiences to see what the trick is like unmasked. You feel me?
Yeah, fact,
Whereas the
fact.
average woman is looking for the best trick she can because she has a conventional view of men and a conventional experiences to back up her view. So when it comes to like defining male nature, we're able to see what male nature is on a deeper level because we have the experiences that not many guys experience. Therefore, we have a more of a panoramic view of things when it pertains to male nature.
Exactly. That's why I've always said, and this is my slogan, and I say, male nature is godly and female nature is ungodly. So, with what you just said, like the true essence of real male nature has that panoramic, very similar to the omnipotent and the omnipresent. See, a lot of guys with their nature are a little under the panoramic and the omnipotent and the omnipresent. They're less of what their nature is. A lot of guys operate less of their nature most of the time. Just being conventional alone instead of thinking outside the box. Most guys, they will do what homeboy doing. They will wear the same pair of Jordans. You know,
I,
so
but
it's kind of like that.
but uh, as far as like what you're saying, I fully get the gist of what you're saying, but we also got to understand that most people in general are conventional.
Yeah.
Most people
Or
are gonna, so the male nature that they have, it's just the average male nature. It's the typical, male behavior that they're going to display. You feel me? People like us, we're higher, thinkers. But because we're higher thinkers, it doesn't mean that they are necessarily low per se. It just means that they're just average. They're
Yeah.
they're just the majority of the statistic out here. It's
Oh
like
yeah.
this, right? It's like this. If you're able to fly, does that mean other people necessarily don't have wings? No, they're just regular. You just have wings. That's just the difference. You feel me? So I just think when it comes to a lot of the male nature we see out here, it's just conventional male nature. It's conventional behavior, and it's conventional because a certain number of people do the same things at the same rate and are pretty much around the same time.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
me and you, we've had discussions about this. Like the stuff we talk about is ahead of our time. So if we talk about stuff and we're ahead of our time, right? The conventional man is not thinking about the stuff that we're it's not even scratching what we're scratching on until much later in life, in their late 40s and 50s, if that. you know and us, we're much younger than our late 40s and early 50s, because the average conventional man, when it comes to maturity, it's around mid 30s to mid 40s when he gets to that
Right.
point of maturity. Whereas people like you and me, through our unique experiences, through our mindset, we was able to mature a lot faster than a lot of our fellow man. You feel me? So that's just my perspective on it. And to respond to what Brown Dude was saying, it is because it was never meant to help men and young boys. It was always about control of women and young girls and contradictions. Exactly, exactly. And that's my biggest issue with the manosphere is that I'm not against guys who date. I'm not even against the content creators, to be quite frank with you. I might not agree with a lot of things that they say. I might even agree with what they stand for. But my
Well,
issue has always been with the audience.
yeah, check
Because
this out.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh and I hate it's just a coin term, it's not bashing nobody. But there's a manosphere, but what if the majority of them really are the malosphere?
That's a drop. That's a drop. That's a drop. That's a drop. That's true. That's true. That's true. That's very, very true, man. That's very, very true, man. Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, it's crazy because like, yeah, I mean, we see just even a lot of the game talk is getting old. It's like they haven't reinvented the wheel, and that's kind of what I hear. And like you said, sort of with what you've been saying, maybe it's not even about like reinventing the wheel. They haven't even made the wheel better,
Yeah, that's
and that's
true.
kind of what I hear. It's just like, come on, man. So like, it's not. So us even talking about male nature is kind of like, for example, actually, I'm a wait. I don't want to jump ahead of myself because I know you was gonna finish touching upon something. Go ahead and chime in on what else you was gonna say.
Yeah, I was just gonna continue to respond about not respond about, but to respond to Brown Dude's comment. Is because it was never meant to help young men and boys. It was always about control of women, young girls, and contradictions. Yeah, 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 exactly, exactly. It all comes down to what you stand for. Um, and that's what the big homie Dub was telling me. Like, what do you stand for? At the end of the day, you can say your red pill, you can say your blue pill, you can say any pill you want, you can say whatever. But what do you stand for at the end of the day? Because a lot of people really don't stand for nothing. There was a content creator who agreed with my notion of self actualization, right? And now that we're not cool anymore, Now he wants to bash it. It just, quite frankly, it's like that individual doesn't really stand on anything, to be quite frank with you, because it's not about how
Right.
you feel about me. It's about objectively looking at the situation. Is it effective? Like, just because you don't like the fact that your boy was shot by the cops does not take away the fact that a gun is effective. You feel me? So that's how I see it. When it comes to a lot of the manosphere, are women a big part of our lives? Yes, we deal with them all the time. But the biggest issue is the fact of where our focus is as a collective. We're a lot of us are focused on how to interact with the opposite sex, but how do we interact with ourselves? How do we interact with our fellow men out here? You feel me? There's a lot of fake dudes out here in general, and there's a lot of guys who have made videos about the fake dudes that's out here. There's people that are on Twitter talking about generational curses and how their own family was fake and how they was betrayed by their older brother or whatever. So do I get why a lot of guys make a lot of female oriented content? Yes. And there's an audience for that. I'm not hating. But at the same time, it's the focus of the audience. Why can't they focus on other things outside of that? If you're into game, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not. Now, I'm going to be real with you. I don't, as far as game, it just doesn't matter to me at this point in my life. But who am I to knock another man for wanting to use game if that's was gonna be a big part of his life? My whole thing is just be diverse. That's just my whole thing.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of it. In unfortunately, they most guys don't have diverse games. They don't know of different type of games. In essence, it's still all a matrix simulation, and they haven't figured out how to think outside of that or how to, I guess, make another simulation. That could be definitely another drop for that. But it's still, when I hear guys talk, it's like just a revolving door with that. And then kind of similar to what Brown Do Life said. He said, and don't put sex on a pedestal, but lie, be indirect, mimic dark triad traits and characteristics, act in ways that is not natural, all for the pussycat. And that's what it is, man. Even just saying game, in my opinion, it's going to attract the pussycats. See, that's why I mean, even I don't have that much of the feminine traction at my channel because, at least as of late, I know some of the real women do come around from time to time, but they're attracted to the game. Like the cats love to play the games, and so when you talk that way, it attracts them. And it's just like what Brown Do Life said. It's still that dark triad, and so unless a guy diversifies to where it could represent something better and more wholesome, I just don't really see anything bright about it. But yeah, not bashing the game and all that, but yeah, you gotta. I just think it's time for that true paradigm shift.
Oh yeah,
Um,
definitely. And I also want to respond to that comment from Brown Dude Life 89. You know, yeah, a lot of guys will say, don't put sex on a pedestal, but lie, be indirect, and mimic dark triad traits and characteristics and act in ways that's not natural, all for the coochie. And yeah, I agree. I agree with his statement because a lot of, and that's the problem. Like, just be yourself. Be yourself. Be yourself. Because always ask yourself, there's a homosexual that a chick has fallen in love with. There's a guy that was like 5'1" that a chick has fallen in love with. It's little things like that that we as a collective ignore because it's not glamorous. It's not the ideal. But the reality is a lot of chicks are not like their style and how they choose men is actually not that good. So this notion that you got to make yourself the top male for a female's sake is quite ridiculous. Now, are there things that are going to attract a lot of women? Yes, there are. But at the end of the day, be yourself. Be yourself. Be
But see,
yourself.
that would require them actually being a higher form. Cause see, when they act this way to be the top person for a female, if you will, last time I checked, that was more animalistic. I thought that's what the animals do. Are humans you're supposed to be higher than the animals, the higher than what it's like it says as it is written, the things that crawl, the creepeth things that crawl up amongst the earth. So like you should be not behaving animalistic in regards to certain things like, the females, but I'd say, hey, that's not what we see right now. We don't
Yeah.
see that. We see the flashing and the swagging and the flexing.
Another thing about male nature is the burden of performance. I did a video. I did actually a two-part video. I think it was like 2 months ago. It was called Adam and the Burden of Performance. And the thing is, like, when it comes to being a man, the burden of performance is real. You feel me? Like, we are all under a burden of performance as a man. We all feel pressure to perform. You know, a lot of guys who have suffered serious injuries, like in war or in the police, they a big factor to why they're not the same psychologically is not necessarily because of the injury. It's just the withdrawal from the rush of performing all the time, and that's what affects a lot of guys. And that's a big part
Oh
of male
yeah.
nature. It's the ability to perform. Like, even when you see guys, talk about game and stuff like that and doing this for women, that's peacocking. But
Yep.
male peacocks perform. It's just another it's just another style of performance.
Hmm.
It's another style of performance. And then you have guys who want to perform financially, and then you got
Yeah.
guys who want to perform physically, and then you got guys who want to perform and just et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You
Even
know,
sexually, she
yeah,
expects you to
exactly.
last longer than 5 minutes. Even if you've been through some psychological things and she's supposed to be a helpmeet, if you haven't been performing longer than 5 minutes, eventually she's not going to be satisfied and she's going to leave. That's the thing that really gets me about how they misunderstand male nature, you know.
Yeah,
And
they just don't
man,
understand, and they're not even taught to understand, because a lot of men, quite frankly, do not even care to explain that to them. A lot of guys, when they come home from work, or come home from doing whatever, they don't want to play that teacher role. They just want someone to rub their back, rub their thighs with some lotion or oil, whatever, however, they want to feel when a woman touches them when they get home. And then they just want to just sit down and just watch Sports Center. That's just how a lot of guys are. And then you taking the fact of the food that's being put out, the GMO, the all this stuff has an effect on a lot of men. So their testosterone is lower and stuff like that. So a lot of guys, the last thing they're trying to do is explain uh, their own nature to a woman. It is what it is. But yeah, the burden of performance definitely comes into it. A lot of guys who were lazy before they had a kid, once they had a kid, it's like it awakened an even greater burden of performance. Or if you're a guy that is a hard worker, you could end up being a workaholic by having a child, because all of it is tied to the burden of performance. It's like fatherhood for certain guys unlocks even greater burden of performance. Guys in relationships, uh, it brings out even greater burden of performance. And then certain guys who are in poverty, it could bring out an even greater burden of performance. because you want to
Yep.
overcome the poverty. So the burden of performance is in male nature across the board. It doesn't matter what country you're in, or every
Mm-hmm.
man wants to provide, and even provision
Mm-hmm.
itself is a burden of performance, because you can't provide
Facts.
unless you perform.
Yep.
You can't protect unless you perform.
Mm-hmm. And I think oftentimes, kind of like with that thumbnail, when you saw that guy carrying all that on his shoulders, you never know. I mean, it was a third world kind of a picture. He probably had to walk 25 miles with that on his back to his family. And to be honest, it's like when men do things like who are really tapped in their male nature, um, it's like when you think about it, is the man really thinking about providing for his family, or is he doing it so he can have peace for his family? And I think it's really the peace that makes him put on that burden, but he shouldn't have to put on such a burden for peace. I mean, it even says in scripture, my yoke is easy, my burden is light. So I think overall, like as men tap more into the male nature, the true male nature, they have to know how to make life easier for them, how to make things be easier in regards to just less of a burden in their life. Men are designed to be more rigid, more robust than the feminine. But that don't mean you're gonna have to pass your threshold every single day you step out the door. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
but that's
of
what we've
course.
been force fed every day from this society.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So yeah, like you can define male nature off of boundaries, performance, because the thing is, like when it comes to females, it's those two things are just opposite of how women are. Women are more likely to cross boundaries. I mean, a woman is designed, if she can't be a helpmeet, if your boundaries are already up, and that's a drop for another day, but she just can't. um she's not under the burden of performance because she's using what you provide to help the kids in its natural state, obviously. So it's just more so, those are like the two main things that really define men across the board. Not, forget men, just males in general.
Yeah,
Beta, alpha, sigma, omega, whatever term you use, this is just
right,
what it comes with males across the board.
right, right. I think on that day, and I'm actually studying this for my spiritual channel, but just a sneak peek. But I believe Eve was assassinated or she was murdered. See, people think like something happened to Eve. She made a choice. I think something literally happened to her because you got to think she had literally two gods in front of her. Side with Adam, and he was one way, and then you side with Satan, who he had no boundaries. You can do what you want. You shall not surely die. So that gave her a different idea of what male nature was and what being a man was. Because now you talk to a chick nowadays, who does she want to listen to? The guy that is trying to have her be a helpmeet, do certain things around him, or the guy that's gonna be like, "Oh, you ain't gotta worry about that. I don't no, they not telling you really how it's supposed to go. It's not really like that. That kind of guy."
Yeah,
So,
it's true.
man.
And
So I
here's
think,
the and here,
yeah,
here's the thing when it comes to like a helpmeet these days. Um, can you make a woman into a helpmeet? Yes and no. And the reason why I say yes and no is because it has to already be in her. And two, in Babylon, should that even be something that we seek? Those are all things. Those are all things we can ask ourselves. When it comes to relation to women, like, is she worth putting this boundary down so that she could, come right in? Is she worth
right,
the burden of performance? Those are questions that I think guys should ask themselves. You feel me? Because
right. If she's
if you
giving
don't
you
ask yourself these questions, you're essentially selling yourself short. That's just how I perceive it. You feel me?
mm, mm,
Because you
that's
gotta
deep.
you gotta analyze why she's in your life. Like it's even in the scriptures. Like a man has to carefully choose his wife. You have to be careful with who you have around. You have to. I don't know. There's no other way to like, because look at like in the club, right? For those who are here for the club scene, bouncers. I don't know how it is in this modern era, but I've heard stories about bouncers letting chicks in just because they look good. You feel me? But you don't know if this woman has a weapon
Yep.
on her or anything like that. You feel me? This woman could be there to kill somebody and then walk right out. It's little things like that. So a man should be in a state to evaluate why a woman is in his life. That's just how I see it. And I'm not trying to make this live stream about women, but when it comes to defining male nature, uh, we have to understand about boundaries. You feel me? And we have to understand why the boundaries exist and who do we allow within the confines of our own boundaries. And oftentimes that's a woman or our own child. That's how we gotta like think. And then when it comes to the burden of performance, women are already burdens off rip. You feel me? And when I say burden, I'm just saying the nature of the position that she's in relation to you. You feel me? Because you're the one who has to perform. It's just your it's just your biological not just programming, but your biological design is to perform. So she's gonna be a burden off rip. So you have to ask yourself these questions in relation to women as well.
Yeah.
But just
Fact.
but overall, you gotta ask yourself these questions like, why am I performing? A lot. I think when it comes to like a lot of the male burden of performance, it's a lot of it is mindless. It's not
Mhm.
really concrete and it's not really thought out, and there's not enough self reasoning and purpose behind it, and that's how it could be negative. And that's pretty much how I perceive it. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on that.
Oh yeah, that's facts. That's why I always be like, if she doesn't reciprocate, you're gonna have to always recuperate because you're always, she's the rib. She actually is like supposed to, the rib is, and I've said this before, the rib protects your vitals, and so when you see that she's just worth being your rib, and she got to do her part to just be there, surrounding your vitals, like what I'm saying, and that's kind of more or less, I would say, kind of what lacks, in my opinion, in regards to a lot of these guys talking points about male nature. But yeah, yeah, if you want to, like, I know you have some things you might have to be doing in a little bit. I can chop it up with my people for a little bit longer, but yeah, feel free to step off whenever you can. But yeah, it's
Hey
definitely good
man,
having you on, man.
hey man, definitely appreciate you for having me on. I already know you're gonna continue to cook, you know, for the people in the panel. Definitely appreciate you for having me on. Salute to the chat, and salute to the future listeners of this. Um, I think I've hit enough points, but yeah, I gotta go and handle some business real quick. But again, thank you, Ray, for having me on. Stay blessed, bro.
Likewise, fam. Always good to have you on. All right, y'all. But yeah, I'm gonna continue on with y'all. I'm gonna continue on with y'all. But yeah, it's a lot of great, interesting points that King Ref brought up with this male nature topic, because y'all know pretty much how at my channel I pretty much make it self-explanatory. I mean, as I said earlier, male nature is godly, female nature is ungodly. With that, with pretty much that self-explanatory statement, you pretty much can short the conversation because it makes sense. Like if you think about it, how many chicks that aren't women and they act like typical females can say that they're really godly with their nature? They're not. They're very sickening, very evil, very vindictive, very how can I say this? Just very demonic. And that's what we're tapping into. I kind of want y'all to eventually see at this channel how it's evolving because we were definitely going into the cosmos more with this channel, but we're going to go more into the inner realms, uh, the interstellar, into her stellar, trying to get her to have a groove back. Stella, get a groove back. But you have to know about your male nature, the utmost, the outermost. And so, like with what King Ref said earlier, like with guys who have some hint of male nature, they still display certain aspects of male nature, but see, it's just a hint. It's just a hint. These guys might have wings, but they only gonna fly so high. They're limited in their elevation. Basically, they're still within range of getting shot by a good shooter, by a good hunter. And these females that aren't women, they know how to shoot a lot of these guys down. That's why, like, when you're really trying to get further in life, fellas, you got to shoot for the stars. You got to fly high with this thing, man. You got to go high. You got to be beyond just jet life. You got to be rocket life. You got to be space life with it, to infinity and beyond, as I've said before. You flying so fast and so high at the same time, she couldn't even think of a way to shoot you down. So, um, and I got a notification from King Ref already. He said we got so many dislikes, like, and we kind of know who giving us the dislikes. We ain't gonna really say names, even though it's self-explanatory who some of these people can be for those who've been at my channel. But to keep things professional, I don't want to, keep talking about a person or people, which I don't really have people. I don't really have a lot of people hate me, but you might have a person and he might have people that he might want to be on his bandwagon just to bring negativity to a channel. But we remain positive no matter what, because like I said, real male nature is godly and female nature is ungodly. So as I said, when you got a guy, he's not being godly, he's being more ungodly, he's being more like a female instead of like the true essence of what male nature needs to be that defines what a real man is. But it's cool though, let them hate about the definition of male nature that me and King Ref have brought forth. But what I want to also talk to y'all about is have y'all noticed? Oh yeah, before we get further, let me address some of these let's see, Brown Do Life, he said and the GMO affects men and women, but shh, don't tell the manosphere that, right? The malosphere, not the manosphere, but the malosphere. For the most part, not bashing the entire manosphere, but shout out to Man of Tomorrow. He brought this up. He said the real manosphere is not like what y'all see today with what consists of the manosphere. So I'm not saying anything too far left, and this is from someone that represents the original manosphere, Man of Tomorrow himself, and he co-signed with me because he said, "Yeah, these guys who claim they're the manosphere now, like they're not part of that original manosphere. So we just gonna say melosphere, right?" Uh, Brown Do Life, you also said the quote unquote red pill you would think would hold the line, with the red pill. Yeah, exactly. It should. It's supposed to be. Explain to men and young boys the landscape of modern feminism, how to be men, how to find women that are awake, not negative content on women, right? Because that ain't real red pill. Red pill, you got to get outside of all this negativity. You got to see outside of all this negativity. And then once you do that, then you do something about it. That's when you take the white pill, right? Let's go. Let's go. All right. Oh yeah, by the way, hey, was good. Was good, cool gent. Good to see you in the building. And of course, I saw you earlier, Mike. I believe you still in the building. Good to see you. Glad you said hit that damn like button. Yes, y'all hit that damn like button. Hit that. Okay. And then oh, you good, Michael? Hey, do your thing, man. I'm live. So yeah, listen in, tune in, stepping in and out, I'll be here for a little bit. We just 40 minutes in, but I want to provide y'all with a solid hour's worth of the live stream. A lot of people actually listen to my live streams because it only lasts 1 hour versus everybody else lasts for 2 to 3 to 5 to 7 hours. And I'm surprised everybody listens to my 1 hour worth of live streams. So it's like, yeah, I'll be here, fam. Do your thing. You said Brown do life. Excuse me. The bouncer lets the females in for free. So the clubs and the bars can make money off of guys buying drinks for the females. Exactly. It's very cyclical. It's very cyclical, if you will. So it makes sense, man. I mean, let the tricks get in, man. Try to get the treat. But it's kind of like the casino. The money stays in the house because dude's gonna be putting that money back in the house trying to buy these chicks drinks. You see what I'm saying? Or buy her food. Because these clubs and bars, they don't just have liquor. I mean, they got chicken wings, man. You get some fries, you can get some pizzas. You get it all now at the bar now, at the club now. You get girls, they specifically go to certain clubs and bars. They got a certain type of meal that they don't serve at a restaurant. So you got a chick that goes for that reason alone, and she like, okay, look, if you want to have some time with me, look, I don't just need that drink. I need that certain meal too. That's the only way you're gonna have my attention. And of course, fellas, she lying about the attention part, but she'll say that just to sell herself, if you will. To me, a real woman is never for sale, in my opinion. But yeah, we won't digress too much because this live stream is about male nature, the true essence of male nature, the godliness that represents true male nature. But yeah, I wanted to say, so I can kind of get on another point here while we still got a few more minutes in this live stream. Uh, but yeah, you got guys, man, that just don't express what real male nature is. They just have the nature of a male, which is more like a female instead of true male nature that embodies the development from you being a male into a man. And basically, as a man with true male nature, you always feel like you're growing. You always feel like there's more for you to know, more for you to learn, more for you to grow on. Like you never really stop. You don't mind constructive criticism. However, there are only so many people you will accept that constructive criticism from because they mean well, they're not a hater, and that they got your back. You know what I'm saying? So that aspect, you not having pride, you put that aside for people that got your back. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, don't be that way, fellas, to anybody else that ain't got your back like that. Because he ain't got no constructive criticism. He's destructive with his criticism. Watch out for a guy like that. Don't end up like that guy. And maybe one of them have been putting a dislike on this live stream already. But we gonna keep gonna keep it moving and grooving. We ain't gonna worry about the males that don't even know about their true male nature. Probably they don't have it in them. Maybe they have more female nature in them anyway, right? Now, this thing here, I want to leave y'all with this while we still got a few more minutes, if you will. It's 44 minutes, so at least 15 to 20 more minutes I got with y'all. But yeah, notice how like I don't know, I was growing up, and you see how the girls hit puberty first. They develop more, right? And the guys take a little longer to develop. But notice, as time goes on, you see that she might have developed quicker physically, but she has not developed quicker mentally. The feminine develops quicker physically than the masculine. However, the masculine develops quicker mentally than the feminine. Hopefully, y'all catch that. I'll say that one more time. The feminine develops quicker physically than the masculine. However, the masculine develops quicker mentally than the feminine. Okay. Now, this idea that she hits the wall, guess what? That's due to her rushing her development in only one area, and that was physically. Look at what all she's been doing physically. She has not taken out the time to develop more mentally, and she rushed it. And some of them, after they hit the wall, guess what? They never develop any further after that. They're just stuck. Their minds, some of them be stuck at 8 years old, 10 years old, 12 or 14 years old. You can see about the what by the way they behave. When you be like, fellas, man, she acts so childish, so immature. Guess what? Her mind, her emotions are actually still stuck at that childish age. And usually they say that's when that trauma, whatever trauma took place, it happened at that age. And she's been stuck at that age ever since. It ain't just really who she had sex with first that kept her at that same age. No, it's also the trauma that got her stuck at that age. And what you getting is really a chick that's stuck at that period of time. And she hasn't grown out of that. And she probably never will. She'll never fully develop into that woman with that woman nature around you because she doesn't even appreciate your male nature. She doesn't even appreciate how much you're developing now. She look at you like you're trying to talk down on me. Okay. So keep that in mind about the puberty aspect. I could definitely touch upon that even more because there's a lot to say about that. Okay, there's a whole lot to say about that. I also want to say this too. This is a side note. I've talked about reciprocation a lot at this channel, and I will even more in the future. However, I believe we're at a state of we got to get beyond reciprocation. What about regeneration? What about regeneration? Men have to regenerate their true male nature. Forget it being reciprocated. We're not getting that. Men not getting that. We know already, we're not getting that reciprocation. So you might as well push the envelope even further. The regeneration needs to take place. If she can't regenerate, then you might as well forget about reciprocate. Okay? Got a new person in the building. Cam Bash. Good to see you for the first time. Good to see you. Hopefully you'll be around more. Let's see what you said. Way behind because of a phone call, but sperm counts have decreased by 50% into the generations. I agree with that. I can see how that is so. And so really this essence of whatever the next generation can be, man, that's kind of it's looking quite grim. It's looking quite dismal. You're going to have to separate yourself from the rest of society to even try to go past the 50% that Cam Bash just stated. You know what I'm saying? We're going into a time of transhumanism and androgyny. Okay. So what will male nature be once these things take place, if they do take place? Okay. Now, y'all know those that know scripture about the Tower of Babel, where it was this big tower and it was to reach the heavens. Everybody spoke the same language. Everybody spoke the same language at that time. And so they built the big tower to reach the heavens. So what did the creator do based on what is written? He scattered the languages. So that's why we started speaking different languages. And I believe that's why we also don't look the same either. That could also be something there. However, what is happening now? We pretty much speak the same language again. We're trying to develop the same currency again. How do we speak the same language? Well, you could pick up Rosetta Stone, and pretty much the internet is our language. You can always translate someone's language anyway. Okay. Now we're reaching to the heavens in other ways with this transhumanism, and even the fact that you got people trying to postpone their death by borrowing organs, putting microchips inside themselves to prolong their hearts. Some people are even getting rid of their hearts to have what I call an eternal pacemaker. Yeah, they're trying to make a pacemaker that ever, uh, never ever malfunctions. They're working on that kind of. They're working on that type of technology right now. The one thing that hasn't been tapped to is the brain. You know, but there could be something about that too in the future. But transhumanism, that is the new Tower of Babel, is the transhumanism. How that will have everybody looking the same, talking the same, being the same. Um, what will male nature be once that takes place? Will it even exist? Will there be this thing of an XY chromosome in the future that is sort of the building block, the DNA of male nature? Will it even matter to get a woman pregnant in the future? Do they even appreciate being pregnant? Do they even want to be pregnant by a man in the future? Now, a lot of people don't know, but actually, a woman taking on this idea of labor, being pregnant, that was part of the curse of sin. She actually was designed just to be a man's helpmeet and sexual pleasure. Um, in regards to pregnancy, that's a different story, but I know she was cursed with childbirth. That's another topic altogether. But yeah, just pretty much wrapping up what I want to say about this male nature. Given what me and King Ref have went over, and if y'all got any more questions, feel free to put that in the chat. And hopefully, I get a lot of feedback on the replay as time goes on, for sure. But this live stream is pretty much ahead of its time, so give it some time, right? My thing is, um, I believe content now needs to be more focused on the betterment of male nature. Now, I've always said that I have never tried to understand female nature. At this channel, I believe you rebuke female nature. Female nature is a demon, okay? And you want her to have woman nature, not female nature. Basically, since I say female nature is ungodly, you want her to go from ungodly to godly, to be more like your true male nature that is godly. That's what you want. You don't want to understand female nature. Now, think about this with male nature, okay? There's also an aspect of not understanding that either. I think the nature of things need not to be understood, whether good or bad. You know what I'm saying? So, because it says in the scripture, like, trust in the Lord, lean not to your own understanding. Okay. He'll give you a peace that passeth all understanding. All this understanding for what? Okay. So, you want to be the type of embodiment of an individual that one cannot understand, but they have to want to experience, they have to want to be a part of, they have to want to appreciate. Okay. Like when the creator said in the scripture, your ways are not my ways, my thoughts are not your thoughts. Fellas, you got to be like that with the feminine. I'm not saying you are trying to be like idolatrous or idolatry amongst her, if you will. Idolatry, get it? Like going to the Dollar Tree. Side note. But but you want her to always see you as someone that she cannot figure out. That's why I put the question mark. At least given the date of this live stream, you see as my avatar the question mark. That's riddle me this, riddle me that. Okay, you got to be enigmatic for the most part. with a lot of the feminine. Even if that is not within you to be enigmatic, you can just be a certain way that you don't want her to like always think she can figure you out, because that ain't that what the lesser feminine always want to do? Figure you out, figure out how to get you. No different than the cobra trying to figure out how to get you, but you got to be more like the mongoose to the king cobra, to the cobra. She didn't think you had what you had in you. So that's also in my self explanation of that's also in my explanation of what male nature is. It just has to be godly. You have to be godly. There's no other way to describe male nature. Anybody else telling y'all anything else different, they don't know what they're talking about. Yeah, I got to get back to saying that too, because I haven't said that one in a while. You know, they don't know what they're talking about, but hey, it's true, man. I'm gonna just start saying it again, because I'm gonna be doing a lot more of these topics centered around uh, the masculine. I know for a while I've generated a lot of content for the feminine, around the feminine, but I think I'm doing the quite opposite of Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels, he started out content for men, it evolved to being content for women. Me, I believe my content started off probably for women, but it's evolving more for men. But it's funny, but I've always had a lot of content for men, but people didn't catch on to it because, like Brown Do Life said earlier, everybody was trying to hear what men had to say from the manosphere standpoint, or as I say, the malosphere, you know. But someone of my type, people weren't trying to listen to because I didn't have the popular opinions. I didn't talk the same about single mothers or dating, and I did not mind talking about what it means to be a simp. And I've said, for we all have simped, like it says in the scripture, for we all have sinned. I'm also say this: if you got anybody out here trying to tell you that they have never simped, just like they've never sinned, they don't know what they're talking about. Like it says in scripture, he who has not sinned, let him throw the first stone, cast the first stone. Guess what? He who has not simped, let him cast the first stone. Now, I bet you a lot of these guys can't do it. I wouldn't even want to be around a guy that just says he's never simped. We all have, man. But it's really, what is your story from that situation? Okay, you know, you got some guys that have been married before, divorced before, had kids from a messed up female before, right? But how did you come out of that? What are you doing now that makes you not the same person that you once was? That's what people really want to hear. At my channel, my goal is to represent myself as a testimony of someone that has truly overcome female nature. I've seen the lowest of the low. I've been around the highest of the high. But one thing I can say is that no matter what, I've survived, man. And I'm just here telling y'all now about this male nature side of things, because that's been left out of the story. That's been left out of the conversation. But yeah, definitely more to come on the way with this male nature. We just getting started, especially me and King Ref. We just getting started, man. This is we had some more things we wanted to talk about, but uh, you know, he had to get going. You know, he has some things to do, but we'll be back for that. But hopefully this live made sense to some. Maybe this live did not make sense to others, but to the others that this live made sense to, feel free to hit that like button, especially those listening to this on the replay. If this is your first time coming to this channel and you like my type of content, whether you have checked out my uploads or my live streams, there's definitely more in store. This channel is evolving. I got a new name to represent that evolution. No, I did not get this name based on me separating from certain people I used to deal with before. Those people did not and they're not the reason why my name has changed. So just in case some troll is watching, no one made me change my name. Okay, let's put that out there right now. Nobody made me change my name. It was time for me to grow. It's time for me to evolve. Um, I'm almost at 500 subscribers given the time of this live stream. I've doubled my subscriber count within 1 year. And I've done this on a consistent basis. I've done this on a consistent basis. So I'm very close to 1,000, I believe. Maybe by next year I'll be close to 1,000 subscribers. I'll be happy just getting to 1,000. Y'all can make this happen, especially for those subscribed to this channel. Continue to share my live streams and my content. But yeah, for the new people, there's definitely more in store. So make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you subscribe, share this live stream, as well as some other content. Go into my archives. You'll see I have I have many different playlists. You'll see all of that. Go into the description section. For those checking this out on the replay, you'll see the different links, different channels. Make sure you subscribe to those. Um, I should be slightly updating that information. I'm under construction with some new things, but if y'all want to reach me, I'm doing something new. At first, I used to put out my email. Some of y'all probably still know my email from my older content. However, I'm just gonna say this. I'm on IG. Look me up, right? So that's in the description section. That'd be the most direct way to reach me. And for the haters, that's also a good way to block you. So emails, nah. But yeah, with that said, make sure you hit that notification bell for the new people, as well as for those who've been at my channel, so that you get my uploads in real time. I got a lot coming up. I've been kind of putting things together, uh, trying to make my content more theatrical, if you will. So it takes time, but when I put it out, I put it out. But that's why I also got the podcast side of this channel that I'm evolving more into. Whereas the non-podcast stuff, I could take more time to orchestrate the way I want to put it out. I used to put out annual content. I used to put out like 100 uploads a year just on annual content alone. And that's on top of the other playlists that I have. But this year, I'm only putting out 25 videos for my annual content. And then the rest gonna be podcasts. And then starting next year, I'm gonna build on what I'm doing this year with just just better layouts, just a better illustration. Uh, I want to give y'all a better illustration versus uh, the way some people make you delusional out there. People give you an illusion. I'm just trying to give you an illustration. You see, their illusions make you delusional. You see, not me over here. Okay, but and I'm gonna keep saying this because I've said this before, and I'm gonna keep saying this with every upload in every live stream. Well, actually, with every live stream, I've said this. And excuse me. Uh, no matter what it's looking like out there, no matter what it has looked like out there, I know some of y'all have noticed how it's only getting better from here. Okay, I'm gonna keep speaking on it. I'm gonna keep standing on it. So y'all keep y'all head up. Keep fighting the good fight. Keep fighting the good fight of faith. Um, don't give up, and we're gonna continue to rock this out. So I'm gonna try to actually go live for y'all a few more times here in these next few days because I miss talking to y'all. I just been real busy making some changes in my life. Great changes. Yeah, making some great changes. I'll have to talk about some things in the future. But much love to y'all, and yeah, look forward to my uploads coming up in a few days. as well. And until next time, thanks a million for stopping by. Since I no longer need to say signing out, that was my old slogan. Now we just say thanks a million because for all I know, in the future there's gonna be a million. There's gonna be a million of y'all. So thanks a million, and thanks for stopping by. Until next time.